Okay, Pbhead immediately scanning down toward the south. He's going to find some silicon, some water silicon, some iron, no aluminum found yet. Stolksdorf, on the other hand, has gone in the opposite direction. He kind of went a little to the southeast, then he started going north, now he's moving west. He's just kind of covering that whole area around the neutral colony. PB's gone way north. He's found some of those amazing iron aluminum tiles. I expect a robotic found. I expect him to just drop 3 mines. He's going to move to an expansion with steel mills immediately, and this game... Well, this game's looking really bad for Stolksdorf already. That's the nice way to put it. Another robotic player throwing down, interestingly enough, in that field of silicon in particular. I don't know how good of access he's going to have to aluminum, but his iron's going to be fairly solid. He's going to have really good access to silicon. He's going to have access to some decent water. But as a robotic player, that's not as big a deal. Pbhead already expanding, shouldn't be any surprise whatsoever. He's just going to drop 3 steel mills. Get the adjacency bonuses that Robotic gets fantastically from these iron mines, and he's going to be well on his way to just constant upgrades for the entire game. So, guys, what do you think about this start? Because I'll be honest, I think PB's in a great spot. I don't know what you do from here. I literally don't know. Like, I think the only thing you can do is attempt to constantly harass your opponent with black market when they're off to a great start like that with constant upgrades and see what you can do.
Yeah, so if anyone's comfortable going robotic, that's exactly the location they're looking for.
Oh, for sure. Robotic is... Yeah, this is exactly the type of map and the type of tiles you want to throw down robotic with, obviously. Robotic doesn't need access to water, which is very, very important on a map like this, because I'm only seeing, I believe, 8 water tiles on the entire map, and there's no ice available, so water could have been a huge deal if these players hadn't both gone robotic. On top of that, just these access to this huge pile of resources as PB found is going to be ridiculous. I'm very, very concerned in some ways about Cold Fusion, which just got acquired by Stolksdorf.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's actually a good thing. He's starting to put up a fight.
It's kind of a start. It's an interesting thing right now. Power is likely to go a lot higher than water when you've got 2 robotics fighting each other, so it might have been a good play to begin this match. But the thing we have to pay attention to is the fact that PB's already level 3. He's going to have a geotherm set up. He's going for a 4th steel mill. And he's going to secure that silicon that's right next to Stolksdorf, kind of getting in his way.
Yeah, Pbhead's barreling ahead. I mean, I do like Cold Fusion if you get it real early in the game, because then you can just commit hard to water. I mean, it puts you in a nice spot, but, I mean, yeah, Pbhead, he'll be level 5 within 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, for sure. Pbhead's just going to rocket through the upgrades as fast as he wants to. He can pretty much do almost whatever he wants this game. I expect him to just kind of keep upgrading at first, because that's what this opener really lends you toward. But then after that, he's just going to pick one way to make money, possibly throw down a hacker array to guarantee it. It's probably going to be electronics, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's painful. He just got the high silicon from Stolksdorf.
Oh yeah, he got the high silicon.
Assuming why he found it there to begin with. So
yeah, he got a large amount of silicon bought up from that found, and he sold it all. He's trying to make that work and get these upgrades done, but unfortunately, what's happened is PB's actually been driving up the price of steel rather than driving it down with all of the buildings he's been making. He's been purchasing steel still. And so Stolksdorf, he would have been relying on buying that steel from the market, and instead of getting it at that $40 price for the first upgrade, which is where PB got it, he's having to pay $80, $90. It's just going to keep going up if PB wants it to.
Is Pbhead, he's selling his aluminum and iron then, I guess. Right?
Yeah, he's been selling his aluminum iron, an entirely reasonable thing to do. Iron's not really worth anything. His opponent already secured some. Aluminum, well, it's better he have the aluminum than the steel at this point.
Right. Yep. And with 1 steel mill, Stokes is going to be really choked. I mean,
oh, for sure. 1 steel mill, that's all he can rely on to crank any of this out. He has almost no funds. He's looking at... He just got to the point where he can hit an upgrade. He needs to do that pretty much immediately. But I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yep. I see 2 electronics factories coming out from Pbhead. He might as well. I mean, he doesn't need to go any further into steel, so...
Exactly. He's got that carbon secured, he's got the steel secured, he's making more electronics factories, having purchased a claim from the black market.
This is one of the best fastest starts I've seen in robotic.
Well, let's be honest, PB got 3 of the broken tiles. Like, let's be straight, guys. Some of you are new here. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I personally don't think these tiles should be in the game, quite literally.
Sure.
I think they break the game completely, and they need to be removed. That's how powerful these tiles are. Because if we look at these more carefully, what we see is basically a 3-height tile that's split between iron and aluminum. It looks small because it's a low and a low, but a low and a low put together is equal to a 3 because it jumps from 1 to 2. And then you have all of those right next to each other getting full adjacency bonuses, so you're basically pulling in 6 resources a second from the 2 small tiles here, and even more than that with the medium aluminum.
Yeah, what's really absurd here is there's a high iron,
and
low. I mean, he's not even using. Stolksdorf could claim that.
He could have.
In fact, he should have. It looks like he claimed a low aluminum.
Yeah, I think he took the low aluminum. I think that might have been all he saw, not really registering the tile off to the right. It looked like he was kind of scrambling just to get going after PB got off to that great start, which is understandable. It would throw me off too.
Yeah, it's I like multi-resource tiles. I think they're interesting, but I definitely do understand that this is the one specific case that's very dangerous.
Exactly.
It's the 2 resources you need at the beginning of the game. And
it's a lot more interesting when your multi-resource tiles are, for example, like this silicon and water. You can't mine both at once. You have to make a decision. But when you're talking about something like an iron aluminum tile, there's no decision to be made. Of course you're going to take that. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And a silicon carbon tile is obviously wonderful, but it's not... It's not going to cripple the game.
Yeah, well, the difference between the two that I see, for anybody who's new, is iron and aluminum are generally the resources that almost every colony needs in order to keep expanding very, very quickly. So when you can secure those tiles at the start of the game, you're just lending yourself to a fast acceleration through all of your upgrades. We can see it's day 2. Halfway through day 2, PB just hit level 5. So that's insanely fast for all of his upgrades. And he's honestly been taking it a little bit easy, securing these geotherms, securing these electronics factories, things of that nature. Wow. That's why iron aluminum is so fantastic. Compare that to something like silicon and carbon. Those can be exceptionally strong in the mid and late game, but you have to wait until that point to get that benefit, as opposed to the iron aluminum tiles.
Look at the resource you see sitting on, 1,000 aluminum, 700 iron.
Yeah, he doesn't
even know
care
what to do with them. Yeah.
Frankly, he's kind of to the point where he could just scrap those and move into... Well, he doesn't even really need to. Honestly, I would scrap those and make a hacker array. Or he's got 2 claims left. He's going to build a pleasure dome and a hacker array. Pleasure dome and hacker array both coming down.
Okay. Yeah, he needs the hacker array just so this game could be over faster.
I think he may be making a patent lab too. It's hard to tell because they're all stacked up. Yep. Hacker array, patent lab.
Yeah.
Pleasure dome. PB's just going to finish this one up with style, apparently.
An engineering lab. There you go.
Not sure what you would do with a patent lab at this point. I'm trying to think.
So let's go ahead and cover what these tiles do for anybody who doesn't know. First of all, we're going to have the pleasure dome. That's just going to provide a nice source of income. Well, frankly, it's probably going to lose PB money right now. But what it does is it's just a constant stream of money paying off your debt that just comes based on how big this neutral colony in the middle of the map is. How many people specifically you're entertaining, correct? That's the primary thing that matters. Let's make sure I'm getting that right on the pleasure dome.
Well, it'll add the population from
for the players as well,
and from the headquarters. Yeah.
Right.
And it's not the same. An expansive colony will affect the pleasure dome much more than a robotic colony will.
How much does the robotic affect the colony?
Expansive will affect it 4 times as much as the robotic.
Okay, and where do the other 2 lie compared to those?
It's basically like 4, 3, 2, 1, and unfortunately I don't remember off the top of my head which one's 3.
For scientific or scavenger? Alright, gotcha. Yeah. So, interestingly enough, this pleasure dome, for anybody who's curious, is actually losing PB $100 a second right now. He really should just turn it off. It's never going to get very profitable with 2 robotic players in the map. It's just not a very good building.
Taking a page from Dorian's book right there.
Yes, he definitely is. Well, I mean, maybe he just caught on to those strategies when he was up against Freak, you know?
That's true, he learned.
Power shortage is coming through. PBs might actually have to pay attention to this. I doubt it, but, you know, that could have hurt him quite badly if it had come a little bit earlier, depending on how much he was screwing around.
So what is he actually shorting? Is he just going for electronics?
He's just going for electronics, the nice and obvious one. Perpetual motion also coming in just to kind of fight down this power from the patent lab. Those are both very reasonable. Pleasure Dome did get turned off, finally. So that's going to be done. But basically what the hacker Ray is doing right now is PB's working to just drive up the price on electronics. He has very strong electronics production. He's sitting on a very large stockpile of electronics at 300 right now.
The black market.
So he's just going to try and drive the price of that up in order to finish off Stolksdorf. The Patent Lab, on the other hand, is acquiring perpetual motion. That's going to half the power cost of all PB's stuff. And so he's going to have a lot more power left over. And he's going to be paying off his debt quite rapidly, just in case anything else were to go wrong in this game. We can see the electronic shortage coming in. PB's up to 532 electronics. They're currently worth $189 each. There's really nothing Stolksdorf can do about that from this point. He just kind of has to watch this happen as PB turns his money into more money and then just hits the sell all button and goes for the win.
His Patent Lab and his hacker Ray are sleeping.
PB's being PB's being lazy about the whole thing and sold way before the short finished. He's just going to go for the kill. He has more than enough money and he knows it. This game should be over momentarily.
Oh man. So in the room people are talking